Hey guys, it's Dr. Devin. Welcome to If They Knew, my new podcast playground, where you and I are going to deep dive into some big ideas and hopefully create some light bulb moments on how to take your health, on how to take your happiness to a whole new level. Now, I have a big vision, a big dream of humanity living vibrantly alive, making the most of every single minute and being alive and well and clear and connected, body, mind, and soul. Now it starts with new ideas. It starts with waking up and shaking up the potential you already have inside of you. So let's get this party started. Thank you for joining me. Ready or not, here we go. All right, everybody. Hello, it's Dr. Devin back with If They Knew. And today I have a beautiful friend of mine, an angel, literally an angel on earth that since I have met her has helped me open up my eyes and open up my heart in so many different ways. Please welcome Dr. Suzan Rossi.
Hello.
You look gorgeous.
Thank you.
And I can't
actually feel gorgeous. That's good.
I want to jump right into there. What's the difference? Like, what's that feel like when you say that? I feel gorgeous. Empower some women with what?
Oh my goodness! I just got champagne shivers all over me. I kind of was born feeling ugly. I mean, that's like my core. I'm giving the most inner dark secret. I've always felt very ugly, desirable. I remember comforting myself, the idea that beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, and somebody will think I'm pretty. It's like I'm remembering ancient thought that no one would want me unless I'm beautiful. When I check into these Asian, because my TV's up here, Asian shows, beauty is so revered, and if you're not beautiful, you're undesirable. And I'm going, dang, there it is. That's the thought. That's my core thought of me and my own value. And for women, when we're pure yin, traction and pulling people to us is based on our beauty, both inner and outer. So I remember a friend of mine, his name is Mel, and he was taking pictures. I'm in high school. I'm 16, 17 years old. And he was taking a picture of me, slow, without flash. And I went, no. Later, when I saw that picture, my nose was across that whole screen. And I made a promise to myself in that moment, I would never do that again. I would pose, I would be the most beautiful, whatever that is, and not fight someone taking my picture. Later, in my evolution, I discovered there's a color called peach. And when you have peach light on you, the magic of peach, always look your best. Always look your best. So what I would teach from a magical viewpoint is reaching up to all that is. You can see the color change. Pulling peach there all over, and it makes you look your best.
I had to stop us there because I got shimmers as well. And I say women, I say empower women, but it's really empower humans, because I know that there's boys, men, women, girls across the planet who feel ugly and who feel judged and who ask themselves those questions of who would want me. And here we haven't even gotten to an introduction point, and we're already diving into it's these kinds of things of those. That's the highest hope I have. I want humanity to feel their power, to feel beautiful, and have some tools on how to get there, because we all have these types of struggles.
And it's it's really interesting because if I to attract anything to you, whether I'm a doctor attracting patients, whether I'm a student attracting, or a teacher attracting students, or a healer attracting clients, or I'm a web designer and I'm attracting people, there has to be something attractive about me for them to come to me. And at a deep core level, there's several that I'm being dropped, so I got to pick which one. The first one is the principle of yin, or female, or feminine, or receive, or attraction. Those are all feminine concepts. And in this world, we have this thing that being female is less than being male. So then that makes beauty less than, yet revere it. So it's really a mind mess up, this thing about beauty. And on a universal level, beauty is a virtue. It's equal to love. It's equal to righteousness. It's equal to being divine. Beautiful is actually a gift from spirit. This world is so tough to deal with. Can you imagine it not being pretty? Can you a gorgeous sunset, or the Grand Canyon, or a sunrise in Kansas, or I'm in Georgia right now. When I wake up, I can look out my window and I've got trees back here, and the early morning hue. It's like I get out and walk and look because I want to make a screenshot in my mind of how gorgeous that beautiful thing is. So my goal is to be that myself. Now I have to tell a little secret about me. Is beautiful or desirable as it might look, there's still this feeling ugly. So when I look in the mirror, I have to be very careful. My friend, that's my beloved, and to be real gentle how you look at her. I'm 65, and to take my eyes and look at my 65-year-old body and compare me to when I was 18 is not fair. When I was 18, sit there and think how ugly I am. I mean, it just proves how brutal we are to ourselves, and we've got to give it up.
We've got to give it up.
Got to give it up. And part of that is reclaiming the feminine, the ability to receive, to be magnetizing, to attract without a suck. That there's things about me that no one else has, no one else will ever have, that I have a thread of creation that is only Suzan's hue. Time, space, or void, only me. I'm the only DNA combination. I'm the only sound to this vibration, to this voice. My combination of life is only mine, and what I have to offer.
Perfectly made. Yes.
Right? All the dark hues, all the tainted hues, all the bright, glorious hues.
So now we're gonna rewind, because I think if I'm a betting gal, I think that a lot of the people listening right now, by nature of reading the title or seeing the picture that goes with this, already know you and I. But to somebody that does not know who Dr. Suzan Rossi is, let's introduce them. Then we're going to come back to this reclaiming the feminine, because this is such a spoonful of medicine I feel like the whole world needs. But I want them to know you. So who are you? Where are you? A little bit of background. I know that comes in.
That makes me want to take a breath. Those kind of questions. It's like, how deep? I'm the eldest of 6. That always puts a hue on whoever you are. My father was World War II. He was literally in Pearl Harbor on that ship. So I've got war. I was born in Germany. So there's an element of being born where the enemy is, you know, um, being born to a mama who is from North Carolina, mountain people. So there's a earthy, warrior, tough beginning, where folks that don't know how to communicate, people that don't know how to love, people that don't know how to say, I love you, people that if I want to cry, I might get backhand into a corner. So my life is started not as brutal as some, but more intense than others. So I had rich opportunity to grow from energetic abuse. I wasn't spiritually raised, so I didn't have a Christian, technically, background. I loved reading science fiction and westerns, and though as basic as that is, those really are my core. Science fiction, fantasy, westerns, romances. So those three kind of.
Well, what I love about how you just opened that up, and probably a little challenge that I'll send out to the listener, because I hope that it's not just um, hearing content, but that this becomes a play space where they take our conversations and play with them, is to ask yourself, who am I? And if you were on the other end of that question, in the way and the grace that Dr. Suzan just opened her, who am I would ask our listener to do the same. Where were you born? How were you born? In those core principles, because it does tell a lot more. I would say traditionally it's like, well, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I've got, we go into our roles, and you went deep into pillars. So we'll challenge our listener to
Oh,
that.
killer. Oh,
That's
I
a
love
game. Like, I'm gonna be eager to play with that as well, because that tells a story, and that's something I've gotten from you as well. And we'll connect people to your links and your courses and your classes, because they've been pivotal. Now, you practiced as a chiropractor, and now how would you describe the work that you do currently?
Oh, I going back to where I began. I call people today, the young ones, new humans. I believe that all of humanity is waking up and being born again into a new state of consciousness and light and beauty and grace. And part of my journey was to transition from the old paradigm of what humans were to the new paradigms of what we are, the new ones are, and what we're becoming. And in that transition, my own life was a study. So I'm extremely sensitive, very touch oriented. I'm a Cancer, I'm kinetic, I learn by feeling, by if I taste, it's actually how the food feels. It's how does the music feel in my body. I can't sing it, but I can feel it. I can vibrate. What does that do inside of me? So I'm a feeler in all ways. So the way I was raised shut me down. So I couldn't feel, I couldn't speak, I couldn't talk, I couldn't think. I became very numb and probably clinically disassociated, and PTSD. Even though I physically haven't been in war, I was in war in my family. And my God bless my father, provided lots of opportunities for me to shut down and to overcome it. So in the darkness that I went, I had this courage, core courage. It just has to be from myself. I remember, Devin, the moment I decided I wasn't going to do any drugs. I was 16, and I meant a seltzer. I meant aspirin. I mean, we're not even talking about the recreational time.
Right.
We're talking in the 70s, early 70s, late 60s and 70s. It wasn't even an option. I whatever my parents had to offer, I wasn't doing it. So from a core level, I made a decision that I don't know where it came from other than an innate level, that I was not doing drugs. And I became firm and almost obnoxious about it. I did not drink. My father was a brutal alcoholic. So that's not an uncommon thing to make a choice about alcohol. So I didn't drink. I probably can count maybe on five fingers in my life. So part of it, I was like a dry drunk. I already numb. I was already out of body. I was already couldn't feel. Why do I need to? If I had drank and if I had done drugs, I would not be alive today. You'd find me in a ditch somewhere. So
A dry drunk.
yeah, I
You,
did.
you think that's a common thing?
I think it is that I didn't need to do the drugs to do what everyone was doing. I was already enough that I was so out of body that I wasn't here. I didn't feel anything and I didn't care. I was so numb. In my maturity, when I got older, I couldn't taste. On a sexual level, I felt nothing. I was frigid. If you told me a joke, I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. Um, I couldn't taste the food. I just ate it because I had to eat. And I remember later sitting in, because I'm describing dissociative components of I remember sitting in getting my hair done. It was getting washed, and he was gonna color it. And I hear it's one of those pivotal moments, and it's funny how we learn stuff. The hairdresser walks by and she's talking about going to the bathroom, and she's going, yeah, when I get a call, like when the door knocks, I go. Novel idea to me. My God. What? For some reason, I would wait forever. And I'm sure that there is infantile reasons for that. So I had to remind myself, oh, the door is knocking. I have to go to the bathroom. Oh, I have to go to bed. Oh, I have to go brush my teeth. So I actually teaching myself basic taking care of the body. And the best thing that ever happened is having my daughter. When she was born, she looked a lot like me. And because I had this little baby, her name is Janina, she taught me there were things you do for your child that you would do for yourself. And because I had this little baby body, whatever I did for her, I did for me. So I learned how to love myself by loving my baby. I learned how to feed myself by feeding my baby. I learned how to put myself to sleep by putting my child to sleep and loving her and taking care of her. So she was truly one of the best things that ever happened to me. Giving birth to my daughter. And she's continues to be Grace. So I'm talking deep recovery from a crazy place to empowerment. So my classes now are about getting in body, participating in life, honoring this flesh, this avatar, learning how the kids are playing the games. This is literally an avatar that our spirit comes in and occupies. So I teach my chiropractic students and my spiritual students to actually bring their soul and fill up the avatar so that it's fully occupying, animates the animal that we live in. And doing that, all of a sudden, my body doesn't betray me anymore. I know what it needs. It doesn't have to go alarm bells and be in pain. I don't have to go into an emergency to take care of the animal. I have to honestly, it was last year or this year, for the first time, because usually I didn't feel hunger. I realized when I started thinking about food that I was hungry. So it didn't matter. Anytime, if I started thinking about food, I got up and ate a little something. So I was learning to take care of my avatar. So I'm talking really core, basic how to show up and be human. That the to translate that to your fabulous people listening, if I take care of myself with respect, honor, love, beauty, then it permeates the world.
There we go.
That there is a universal law called the law of equality, and it has a corresponding principle. How I treat myself. They have a saying that I love others better than myself, or I give. I'm here to tell you it's not possible. You cannot love another if you cannot love yourself. So what you do for self, this is according to me, to Susan, what you do for yourself is the template of what you do for everyone else. And because of the quantum field, see, I'm starting to phase, because of the quantum field, that if I think a thought, then the world is feeling it. In my office, when 9/11 happened, that was a Thursday. I remember it. I was driving to work, and my radio was silent. Now that never happens. That dead silence. I knew enough that when it became silent, that something terrible in the world happened, and I turned my radio off. Whatever it is, there's nothing I can do about it on an outside world. Not a darn thing I could do about it. I drove to my office, and the music I had was mine. It was CDs. And a person would come in and say, "Oh, did you hear what happened?" And I said, "Shh, this is sanctuary." Calmed down and sat down. And I did it all day long. I didn't let anyone tell me. They did not communicate to me the terrible thing that happened in the world, that my place was a place of peace. My place was a place of healing. My place was a place of sanctuary, and that you can have a moment of me loving you and grace. And I did it all day long. And I'm probably one of the only people on the planet that have never looked at the video. I don't look at pictures of it. I'll talk about it now. And the reason I'm saying this is not because I'm irresponsible, that I don't care. Devin, I've worked hard, I've worked soft, I've worked intense on having peace in my being, loving myself, generating and cultivating me. And the energy I have within myself is mine. And where I put my attention and where I put my power and how I think is mine. So any place I put it, like if I look at you, I empower everything I am, and I empower Devin. I empower the people that are listening to this. So I sat in that office and I decided where I was going to put my energy. My energy was on peace and keeping my people safe. That's the only place I have authority. If I got seduced into this exquisite energy, focusing on the terrible things that happened in 9/11 and the attack on this country, then I would be empowering the attack. And they had no right to my energy. None. Same thing that's happening now in this very strange time, which is kind of like a 9/11, except we call it COVID, and it's planetary. And instead of warring up with guns, we're doing masks or something. I'm still responsible for my energy. I'm still going to choose where I put my focus, and I keep myself safe, and I love myself, and I love my children, and breath is my friend. Hugs empower me. There's so much technology and research out there that just simply a hug improves my immune system, improves my love, youthens me, makes me happy, helps me go to sleep. And that's where I'm going to put my energy.
I'm coming back through that, and we're gonna tear through it again. I'm gonna rewind and go through it again. This is it. This is it. This is exactly the light that we want to shoot out with a conversation like this. And I hope it lands in people's hearts and they really play with it. Going back to a premise like as above, so below, as within, so without. Inner world creates outer world, right? So you're telling us that you declared radical responsibility for your inner world.
And I
Yes?
just got champagne shimmers. My world is mine. I am not a victim. I'm responsible for myself. How I feel and how I be is mine. And 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 I choose. I respond rather than react. And
Mm-hmm.
there are times when I can be afraid, but then I go, it's okay, baby, you're afraid. I have, like the little one that's there, I have a little one inside me, and she can be frightened too, and I love on her too.
That's what we are. We are grown-up versions of this, right?
Right. And we're composites. I've got little babies, I've got wisdom women, I've got warrior. I'm a community. And when one is frightened, I remember I had to fire someone once. And my sister, God bless her, she, because there's a default where my little girl came up and I was terrified I had to go fire this big bad wolf. And she goes, oh, Susan, just tell her to get under the bed, pull her favorite dolly in, and let the doc come up and fire someone's ass. My little girl doesn't have to do it. So in any,
Guys, okay. She just gave you. I'm not gonna let this pass you by. That's big. That's big. It's huge. It's actionable. This is a tactical, practical tool that I want you to put into your bag. We did this at Tony Robbins' seminar as well. What she's saying is there's different layers within us, right? And when you have something tough, she used an example of firing someone, but it could be any tough situation that we get ourselves in. You can let your frightened inner child drive the bus, but that's maybe not the best choice.
and it's a default that can what comes up. And all of a sudden you got a baby driving the bus. Well, since when does my 3-year-old ever know can't reach the pedals?
That's right.
But can't reach the
but we
pedals.
have choice.
Right.
How do you grab yourself in a moment like that? Because it's a tool to make a choice, but how do you catch the moment so that you're not reacting?
Well, I had someone, hey, Susan, put the baby. So I had someone advise it. So you and I are going to take that position of thing. She told me, take my little girl, because I was terrified. I was in full-blown terror, a panicked terror. I didn't even know how I was going to talk. And she said, put it under the bed, put it somewhere safe. So energetically, I would tuck my inner child into my heart. It's a safe place to put. So I tucked my little girl under the bed, and I pulled my dollies in, and I could actually feel my doc come up. Now, I wouldn't want to fool with my doc. My character. There are parts of us, not that she's a rebel, she's just really connected to source, and I'm a champion.
Yeah.
Just like you just did.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll just step her up because she kicks ass. I'm like impressed with when I'm Dr. Rossi. You don't want to, I don't want to say a cuss word. You don't want to fool with this woman.
That's right.
Doc is up. And your answer is it's going to take practice.
Yeah.
You just have to. And once you do it once, it's like, oh yeah. I learned some. I just have to dock up.
And dock up. See, and she's named that version. Tony Robbins has the at Date with Destiny has everybody do this where you name that person within you. You name the warrior so that when you need them, his quote that sticks with me is, if you want the dog to come, you have to give it a name. And so giving this avatar within you, this person within
That's
you,
the word. Avatar.
to call them forth when you need, until it becomes more natural, for sure. But you call her the doc, and in your mind I can see how you're working that, of what that looks like. Take that to Roman, okay?
When I did a fire walk the first time, I actually, oh no, it was when I was breaking boards. I was one of those things we do.
On
one of those inner winter things that we, and I I realized, this is my work.
Yeah.
And I go, I'll just bring the doc up because she could go through anything.
There we
And
go.
the board broke before I touch it. If you looked at it, it shattered underneath my hand like I didn't even touch it. It shattered and it was done. And I, well, shoot, I know the doc could break the board because I could go through people's subluxations with that, not with violating, but there's no effort. So that next time I went up to break a board, okay, now Susan's going to do it. My normal core, I'm on the TV munching chocolate, watching my favorite Hallmark Christmas show. I had that person come up and I broke the board too. Dang, she can do it too. She's powerful too.
It's amazing the self-growth and all the different tools. If we go back to where we started, we'll finish how we start, and we aim this conversation into the hearts of that feminine energy. We talked about reclaiming the feminine. I want you to go back there for just a second and talk about to an individual. What does it mean to reclaim the feminine? What could it mean to the collective if we stepped into that?
I have to go a little bit esoteric. Mm-hmm. Okay. We live in a world of duality. Mm-hmm. Because this is my right side. This is my left side. I think I set up Zoom to look like I'm in the mirror. So this is my right and this is my left. And the right side of creation and duality is male, action, day, the sun, even war. It's moving forward and driving. The feminine aspect, or the yin, or the night, or the moon, or women, or soft and beauty, is feminine. It back in the day, in antiquity, men had a default to things they did, and women had a default to things they did. And through time, the masculine world they got locked in, and the feminine world we got locked in. And then it became rule and law that men did this, women did this. And in World War II, huge changes happen again. All the men went to war, and men that couldn't go to war left, and women had to take over where the men, and women came out of the homes for the first time ever in a global level and ran the factories and ran the countries. And they got a taste of what it felt like to be man. They even some of them had to wear pants, never had pants on before. Men came back, the women were thrown out, and men went back into the factories and took over. And there was an unsettling that happened. They had a taste of a paycheck. Grandparents took care of the children, and they ran the country, and they got a taste. And that happened in the 40s, in the 40s time. And then I was born in 55. So the children born from that, they're on an energetic level, there was this response. And then the women's lib thing happened. Women's rights. I mean, it was so new for us to vote, that kind of thing. And in it was an error. We thought that being man was better than being woman. That
I want to pause there. So we were seeking to be equal, but by definition, that would mean we thought we were not.
Right.
Sit with that for a second, because it's, there's, I have 4 sons. I have 1 beautiful daughter, but when, the girl power in me, because my mom was she was born in 59. She was very much like burn the bra. She was part of all, that's alive and rich in me, that default to girl power. But to seek equality means fundamentally within me that I don't feel equal.
And that's well said. And it's a trap. So there's
it's a trap.
A thing, yeah, it's a seduction we're being seduced,
Mm.
females less than, and that there's a rejection of motherhood, femininity, softness, beauty, grace, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the babies, that somehow that's less than, is not of value, and I don't need to go to a college education and go out and there's no paycheck in it or something like that. And that we throw away the power of the dress and the power of the breast and the power. I mean, there's a lot of estrogen, throwing estrogen away. And it has manifested huge infertility problems, huge estrogen imbalances within the body for women. Anyway, so um, when we fight to be masculine, we throw away the feminine. It's one half of all creation, and it's women sick, and we've really thrown men off. They don't even know what to do with us.
And I've
Because
seen that in such a beautiful example. Again, it was at Date with Destiny where he called up this powerful woman who was explaining she was a CEO of this company, and she came up really strong and really like go get her, go achieve. And he was like, do you see how masculine this energy calls for you to be? Because what she was sharing was she was unhappy in her marriage, and he was like, well, you guys can't, opposites attract. One of you has to be in feminine, and you want him to be more manly, but you're wearing the masculine mask. So you're going to have to go into feminine or he can't meet you there. And I will just never forget, because I've been raised to be an achiever. But in my home, in my marriage, if I carry that energy, Joey can't meet me there. And it creates discord in the marriage.
and David Data was the one that taught me this. He's one of my favorite author teachers. Um, when when one woman holds the masculine energy, the only place that a man can go is feminine. So if I'm holding masculine and I have a man with me, there's a natural energy that happens with men, masculine energy, whether women are holding it or men are holding it, they fight and compete. Male, it's like two cockfights. And if I've got two female energies together, estrogen, there is a softening and a passiveness, and nothing happens. So and David Data taught that if because I spent most of my life neutral, I was androgynous, I wasn't male or female, and what that does energetically and sexually is that you get ignored, and no one wants you, that you don't cause a response. To and if and if I was holding feminine, it doesn't matter what I look like. If I held feminine and I walked in a room with men in masculine robe, every man there would compete for my attention. There could be even 3-year-olds. If I walked in and holding masculine, then they would compete with me. And again, if I walked in androgynous, they wouldn't even notice me. They could hardly tell that I was a woman. So the most powerful thing I could be in a group of men is feminine. Because all of a sudden, I got them eaten out of my hand. And why wouldn't we want to do that?
Well, and what it really does is tapping us into the, just the divine gift that we actually are, right? It's no more masks. It's being who we actually are. And so
synchronistically and frustratingly, we're putting masks on. It's
right.
like, what is this? It's just a weird as above, so below, as within, so without. We are literally dealing with masks that we have to take off. It's time to, like you said, take the mask off and be who we really are.
And I think that's such a, ironically or not, that is what's happening here in 2020. And so because we have gone all over, and guys, you can feel it now. I'm going to have Dr. Suzan back for sure, to dive, deeper and into different containers of this conversation, because we've gone in different directions. We've talked about reclaiming the feminine. We've talked about creating a sanctuary within yourself, but also in your spaces, in your place of work, and then the effect that that will have on the greater whole. If you had one parting word, um, what would it be? What would your message, your call to action, or your loving golden nugget out to humanity? What where would you leave people today?
Uh, it's like I've got several favorite. My most favorite thing that I tell people, one is we're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
That both on a physical level, but on a spiritual level, it's impossible to be alone. Our the divine is with us. The prime creator is with us. God is with us. We are never alone. Angels are with us.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus is always with us. Buddha is always with us. We are never alone. And that when I walk and do anything, I don't do it by myself, with God. I'm a in gestalt. I'm in blend with God. So I speak with God. The second is, besides not being crazy, we're not crazy, is trust, is trusting that,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
which goes hand in hand. I trust that I'm not alone. So I have the courage to face anything.
Mm. I love that. And I want to make sure, again, like I said, your boundaries class for me changed everything. The quantum leap changed everything. And I can't wait for Rage, because something I've
Oh,
talked about a lot, yes, something I've talked about a lot in different social media things, in different interviews, is we're taught rage is bad. And some of us were born into it, like you talked about being born in a time of war, and there's this angst and this energy and this rage. And Dr. Rossi does a rage class, which I've talked to many colleagues, and they say it's amazing.
oh,
I
do
gotta go. I can't wait, because it's all about understanding that which we are and not labeling it as bad or good or stuffing it away somewhere, but holding it and nurturing it and getting to know it. And I can't thank you enough for being one of those guides in my life who's helped me navigate that wilderness and get to know myself. And as I get to know me, I have a deeper appreciation for the whole. And you're such a gift of a teacher and
thank
friend.
you. Thank you. I'm honored.
I love you very much. And guys, I'm dropping you the links. Go. She does tell us about your Tuesdays, where they can find you on Tuesdays if they want
Um,
to listen.
my students actually set this up. I have on Facebook, um, Chicken Soup for the Chiropractic Soul. However, everyone is welcome. I call it Philosophy Night, and it's 8:15 on Tuesday night Eastern Standard Time. It is a private group, so you have to be let in. However, it's 2 hours. You can ask any question, and I answer the best of my ability and share my wisdom and my teaching. And
Mm.
I have over 300 hours recorded, so you're welcome to look at all that.
And
I've been doing it for 5 years. What?
and they're helping her put this, she's coming out on YouTube, and you can steady find her on Facebook. And it is because these types of conversation, we are in a pivotal moment of history where we're going to a new layer, a new existence of consciousness. And you're going to be one of those light workers that helps take us there.
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
Thank you.
Phoenix, can you say goodbye to Dr. Susan?
Oh,
Oh, we're going to go do some mama snuggles. I'm so grateful. I know everybody listening, if they knew, well, now I know, and now you know, and now we have new ideas to play with. So I wish everybody well, and ... We will be seeing Dr. Susan soon.
take care. Thank you.
Well, what'd you think? I hope that you had as much fun and got as much value out of that as I know that I did. Now, I've gone to seminars, I've read books, I've played things like this in the background while I multitasked my life. But we all know that it's not what's playing in the background, it's what we actually take and move forward with. So stop whatever you're doing and take a few deep breaths. And I want you to get real centered, and I just want to ask you a few questions. Ready? Number one, What did you hear? What did you learn that maybe you hadn't heard or hadn't learned like that before? Number two, what is now activated? What is now alive and vibrating inside of you that maybe wasn't shining quite like that before? And number three, what are you going to do about it? Maybe you just learned something you hadn't known before. Maybe there was a tip or tool or quote or book or resource. What was it that stood out to you the most? Because I am betting that no two people will listen to this episode and hear and take away the exact same things, because this is meant to meet you wherever you're at. So now that you've listened, what are you going to do with this time investment that you just made? What kind of action can you commit to? What kind of habit needs tweaking? Or maybe what question needs asked? Because I'm an open book. Put it in the comments or email me directly, devinbraun@gmail.com. I'm here to support you. The answer is no if you don't ask. Now, lastly, who did you think of or who do you know that could benefit from the conversation that we just had? Because I know inevitably, no matter who I'm talking to or what ideas I'm chewing through on this thing, I think of a friend or a family member. And I'm like, gosh, if he just heard that, or if she just knew that one thing, it would change everything. It might even just shine a little bit of light into the darkness that they've got, or it might help make them just a little bit healthier or happier. We all know someone. And Joe Dispenza says, when you learn something so well you can teach it, that's when it's really activated within you. So, who could you share this with? Who needs to hear it? Sharing is caring, and as cliche as it sounds, guys, we are in this thing called life together. So, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you'll come back and play with us again. And if there's any topic or any somebody that you want to see me interview, or particular space you want me to dive into, let's do it, because I'm here to create and play in all of this with you. I love you. I am cheering for you. I am expecting miracles. I'll see you next time. Mwah!